from a fascism perspective, this has been a really great year. Tyranny is booming over here.
Of all the people that our good friends in England could have chosen to represent America in a painfully boring speech that was only seen in the country formerly known as the United Kingdom, which is now known as the Muhammad Kingdom. Of all the people they could have chosen The Rock to smell what The Rock was cooking. They could have chosen the American hero Scott Jennings. I am a real American. They could have chosen Charlie Sheen if they were looking for a huge embarrassing failure. If they were looking for some dork hosting a late night dump, they could have chosen Sean Squires or Stevie Colbert. But of all the people they could have chosen, the United Kingdom, England, they chose Jim Kimmel? Jim Kimmel. Really? You chose our worst specimen? You chose to make the few remaining patriotic citizens in the UK think that all Americans are insufferable dumbasses? If I were living in England, I would be absolutely insulted by this painfully boring speech from Jim Kimmel. Just think about this for a second. Over in England, you can be arrested for making the understandable mistake of referring to a woman with a beard as sir. God forbid, or as they now say in England, Allah forbid, God forbid you make a joke about Islam, or you question why you're being woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning with some dude loudly praying to the moon. Over here in America, the rooster crows to wake us up in the morning, but in the Islamic Republic of London, the local imam loudly prays over a loudspeaker to let you know that it's time to wake up and get out of bed. And if you have the audacity to question why your peace is being disturbed, you risk being arrested. Freedom of speech no longer exists in the United Kingdom, and Jim Kimmel, sitting there in his doofus sweater, looking like the Pillsbury Doughboy. Jim Kimmel, sitting in the cozy den of his LA mansion, where he is free to say whatever the hell he wants without consequence. Jim Kimmel has the audacity to bitch and complain to British people who are dealing with actual tyranny. Jim Kimmel has the audacity to complain about mythical tyranny here in America? Someone please get Jim Kimmel off my TV. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. So I want to get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Fluffernoggin. I am not a big snacker. I don't eat a lot of junk food, but if there's one time of year where I break this habit, it's football season. One of my favorite snacks to eat while I'm watching NFL Red Zone on Sunday afternoons, beef jerky. Problem is, a lot of beef jerky tastes like you're biting into a flat tire. Good news is, I no longer have that problem because I started buying gourmet beef jerky from Fluffernoggin. Now, you're probably thinking, what the hell is a Fluffernoggin? Fluffernoggin is gourmet beef jerky that's 100% made in the USA. You don't have to worry about consuming foreign cows because all these cows are homegrown. Each recipe from Fluffernoggin is handcrafted with the perfect amount of seasoning. First beef jerky I've ever tasted that literally melts in your mouth. Fluffernoggin comes in a variety of flavors, ranging from mango habanero, Korean barbecue. They even have a flavoring of craft beer. Or, if you're like Uncle KC, you'll just go with the original style flavoring. They're running a promotion during the holidays, so click the link in the description below. Use my promo code BTL30, BTL30. Receive 30% off your first purchase with Fluffernoggin. I guess over in England, King Louis or King Charlie or whoever the hell's living in Buckingham Palace, I guess every Christmas they deliver a speech to their mythical subjects to counter this compelling programming. Channel 4 in the UK, they broadcast what they call an alternate speech every year to compete with King Tut. The alternate Christmas message has become tradition over in England. Speech has been given since 1993. One year, Marge Simpson, not to be confused with the less famous Marge Taylor Greene, one year Marge Simpson delivered the alternate message. Back in 2008, speech was given by Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, who was president of Iran at the time. Good old Mahmoud. Mahmoud was known for his severe hatred of Israel. He also had this precious nickname for America. Mahmoud used to affectionately refer to America as the Great Satan. Those were the good days. Anyway, believe it or not, over the years, people who have made positive contributions to the world have given the alternate Christmas message. In 2014, William Pooley, a volunteer nurse who contracted Ebola while helping people in Sierra Leone, he was chosen to give the speech. 2001, a British survivor of the 9/11 attacks in New York City delivered the alternate message. And in the year of our Lord 2025, in their infinite wisdom, Channel 4 chose America's biggest disgrace, one of America's most embarrassing failures. Channel 4 chose Jim Kimmel to deliver the Christmas message. I'm trying to give Channel 4 the benefit of the doubt here. With them being over in England, perhaps they don't keep up with the late night dumps here in America. Maybe they booked Jim Kimmel thinking he would be comedic. Maybe they booked Jim Kimmel hoping he would deliver a message of hope to the millions of people who are dealing with real oppression in England. But instead, Jim Kimmel did what he does best. He delivered a painfully boring speech that lacked any semblance of comedy, and Jim perfected his role as the ultimate victim. Watch for yourself.
Tyranny is booming over here. You may have read in your colorful newspapers, my country's president would like to shut me up because I don't adore him in the way he likes to be adored. The American government made a threat against me and the company I work for, and all of a sudden we're off the air. Our show came back stronger than ever. We won, the president lost, and now I'm back on the air every night. We are not bright. We're Americans. No one knows better than you. We're always just a little bit late to the game. But do we come through in the end? Maybe.
Tyranny! Fascism! Good yeah! Oh! First of all, I noticed Jim Kimmel attempted to polish the turd. Since the speech was exclusive to people in England, I guess Jim thought he could get away with blatant lies that his show is stronger than ever. His performance has been so strong since returning from being temporarily fired. ABC is unwilling to commit to Jim Kimmel long term. Instead of offering a multi-year extension, ABC was only willing to give Jim Kimmel an additional 12 months. By May of 2027, Jim will be unemployed. First quarter of 2025, Jim Kimmel was averaging 1.8 million viewers. Now, with Jim describing his late night turds as stronger than ever, you would think ratings would be significantly higher than their usual average, especially when you consider the fact that Jim was given an artificial boost when he was temporarily fired. When Jim said stronger than ever, I guess what he really meant to say was, my ratings are still in the pooper, because throughout November and December, Jim Kimmel averaged 1.8 million viewers, which means his ratings haven't grown all year, even though he was a major story throughout the mainstream media throughout the month of September. But the most revealing part of Jim's speech, it was his comments about America, more specifically, his comments about me and you. According to Jim Kimmel, we are not bright, we are not smart, we're Americans. The implication here is over 80 million Americans are dumb because they voted for the Trumper. I know of 1.8 million Americans who clearly lack intelligence. They're the 1.8 million who watch Captain Doofus every night on ABC. But KC, Jim was just joking. He doesn't really think Trump supporters are dumb. Have you ever watched his show? For starters, Jim doesn't make jokes. I have been covering this show for years. I have never heard Jim Kimmel make a joke. Every night during his opening monologue, he displays uncontrollable symptoms of stage 4 OMB. Orange Man bad! Every night during his monologue, the topic of conversation is Donald Trump. That is the only thing that Jim talks about. He is desperately seeking the masculine attention of the Trumper. Matter of fact, Christmas actually came early this year for Jim. Christmas came in September when Donald Trump finally acknowledged his existence. The way Jim reacted, it reminded me of how Machine Gun Kelly reacted when he was finally dissed by Eminem. Oh boy, Eminem finally dissed me! Ooga, ooga! When the Trumper finally acknowledged his existence, Jim was absolutely ecstatic. He immediately called his wife. Honey, I finally made it. I'm over the moon. The masculine orange man mentioned me by name. Stock up on the Kleenex. It's going to be an emotional evening. And ever since, Jim Kimmel has been trying to convince anyone willing to listen that the Trumper is the reason he was fired, instead of, just telling the truth, which, as you guys know, Jim Kimmel is allergic to the truth. The reality is, Jim Kimmel was fired because ABC affiliates refused to put his late night dump on the air. They didn't want to lose viewers to local CBS or Fox affiliates because Jim Kimmel had pissed off over half the country. This dude is such a disgrace. He delivers a speech in England, trashing America. He delivers a speech in England, complaining about mythical tyranny here in America, while the people of England aren't allowed to speak freely. Of course, there is a very simple solution to Jim's problem. If he doesn't like fake fascism in America, he can always leave. I promise. Jim Kimmel would not be missed. Matter of fact, Jim, there's no need to announce your departure. All you have to do is leave. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys tomorrow.